Volcanoes and migration, the forces that shape human movement. For this project, we looked at temporary and permanent migration regarding volcanic activity and the effects it can have on the surrounding local population. We will first go into a couple of examples of historic volcanic eruptions, then we will dive into the Kilauea volcano located on the Big Island of Hawaii. We will also look at tourism as a huge contributor to temporary migration in places like Iceland. Lastly, we will look at how the gravity model of migration relates to this topic. Krakatoa. Krakatoa is one of the biggest recorded volcanic eruptions in history. This colossal eruption on the island of Krakatoa led to the deaths of around 36,000 people and the destruction of many coastal towns and villages. Santa Maria. The Santa Maria eruption of 1902 was one of the biggest eruptions in the 20th century. The pumice formed in the climactic eruption fell over an area of about 273,000 square kilometers, and volcanic ash was spread as far away as San Francisco, California. Mount Tambora. This volcanic mountain, located on the northern coast of Sumbawa Island, Indonesia, exploded in what is regarded as the largest volcanic eruption in history, spreading ash, pumice, and rock over a 36 cubic mile range.
December 23rd, 2024. Kilauea volcano eruption. We will be specifically looking at this volcano as a prime example of temporary and permanent migration. The Kilauea eruption refers to one of the most active volcanoes in the world, located in Hawaii's Big Island. One of its most destructive recent events was the 2018 eruption, which began in May when the volcano's lower east rift zone fissures opened, releasing fast-moving lava flows that destroyed over 700 homes, displaced thousands of residents, and dramatically reshaped the landscape, including the creation of new coastline. The summit of Kilauea also experienced a massive collapse, triggering frequent earthquakes and explosive ash emissions as the lava lake drained. This eruption marked the end of the 35-year Pu'u'o'o vent activity, which had been erupting continuously since 1983. Kilauea's eruptions often produce hazardous conditions, including toxic sulfur dioxide gas and unpredictable lava flows. After a brief pause, volcanic activity resumed in December 2020, with lava reappearing in the Halau'uma'u crater at the summit, forming a new lava lake and continuing intermittent eruptions into 2023. Pre-Kilauea eruption. Life in Kilauea was quiet with a mixture of native, longtime residents and newcomers who were attracted to the small town lifestyle and quiet energy of the Leilani and Kapoho estates. This area most affected by the eruption was heavily reliant on agriculture as well as tourism, often locals working as tour guides or providing food at local markets. And while Kilauea had been erupting relatively consistently, it was small flows that were easily managed and local communities had adapted to them. Types of temporary migration from Kilauea eruption. Roughly 2,000 people were displaced and living in temporary housing or emergency shelters all over the island. Others lived with relatives that lived close by. As government aid started to arrive and flights off of the island became more available, people started moving with their families as the weeks turned into months. And as the reconstruction efforts were slow, some families whose housing had been completely buried turned to rental homes in the meantime, skyrocketing the price of rentals in the area. Post-Kilauea eruption. Many people were forced to leave Hawaii's Big Island in 2018 due to big volcanic eruptions. The property damage was incredible, with lava flow covering over 13 square miles of land, burying some entire neighborhoods in lava. And because of the national headlines, tourism to the area significantly decreased for several years due to safety concerns and eventually COVID, totaling $415 million in tourism revenue losses. Agriculture, specifically papaya farms, were significantly damaged, and farmers took the biggest hit, where the accumulated amount lost was $27.9 million. The scale of the eruption also caused significant amounts of volcanic smog, and significantly altered marine wildlife in the area, including coral reefs.
Iceland has many active volcanoes all around the island. However, out of Iceland's 30 active volcanoes, some of the most active are Grímsvötn, Parabunga, and Hekla, which erupt constantly, but natives have grown to adapt to constant changes and small lava flows, and are some of Iceland's biggest tourist attractions. When looking at temporary migration, One of the biggest types is tourism. Tourism is a significant economic factor that can bring a lot of revenue to the destination country. Iceland and the Big Island of Hawaii both experience significant tourist activity because of active volcanoes. Iceland has a variety of volcano tours that are available to tourists, such as helicopter flights and volcano hikes. Regarding the Big Island of Hawaii, one of the most popular attractions is Kilauea. Many tourists flock to see the active volcano and the amazing scenery and wildlife that are present within the park. Many people residing in the homes that were completely buried by lava flows in the Leilani and Kapoho estates were forced to move stateside because of the sudden lack of affordable housing and a need for permanent shelter. Other options for displaced Hawaiians were cities like Hilo, Pahoa, and Kona. Unfortunately, the majority of native Hawaiians who were disrupted had to be moved from their ancestral lands where they had been living and working for generations and into FEMA-funded housing for months or years without any other options.
The gravity model of migration is an economic model that illustrates how the strengths of a migration flow between two places is proportional to the population and inversely proportional to the distance between two places. This model assumes that larger populations are more attractive to migrants, and it also uses the idea of distance decay. This idea states that the interaction between two places decreases as the distance between them increases.
Oh, I get it. This model highlights how distance plays an important role in the decision of migrants to move. When these volcanic eruptions occur, they act as a push factor for these natives, displacing them from high-risk areas.
Exactly. The gravity model could be applied to help predict where these displaced natives could go after being forced out of their homes. In the case of the Kilauea eruption, this was especially apparent. Data shows that the eruption evacuees were mostly inclined to travel to the bigger cities on the Big Island, the cities that weren't impacted by the lava flow. This demonstrates the distance factor in the gravity model.
I see. These evacuees were more attracted to the population size and shorter distances of the cities on the Big Island rather than cities that were on other islands. Okay, so despite the potential opportunities and further islands like Oahu and Maui, the financial and logistical challenges faced outweigh the benefits, which perfectly illustrates the gravity model.
We're sticking just to Kailua Kona town, now the greater Kona district area. Kona spans like 2/3 of the isle. Check out our other videos.
And then you can head out on sea turtles, sometimes spinner dolphins.
You can never be too careful
Jordan did this
around
with
active
his parents
volcanoes.
and Henry.
And while they are one of nature's deadliest disasters, they also have the capacity to be an event that could boost an area's economy. For example, in Hawaii, many volcanoes are deeply rooted in the local culture and history. So even without tourism, volcanoes are still treated as monuments that are pivotal to Hawaiians and their story. In addition, the Icelandic volcanoes that have become a destination point around the world are further proof that something as deadly or as powerful as lava can be something to marvel at.